I always get confused which camera I have to look at, the right one or the bottom one. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking all things assessment centres. But before I continue, make sure to subscribe to my channel now so you don't miss the next video. Let's get right into it. So you may have already heard the phrase assessment centre. Assessment centres might come up if you're applying for internships, for apprenticeships, or an ordinary job. It's basically a strategy and a process which a lot of companies use in order to determine the suitability of that person to the role and the environment. So just some background about why I've decided to talk about this. I have done multiple interviews. I'm talking a lot. And also a lot of assessment centres as well. These also do include big corporate companies such as the BBC, Unilever and Google. If you haven't watched my video already of how I got into Google, make sure you watch that video. I will leave the link below. So I thought I will give you guys my best top tips to prepare you for your next assessment centre and also tips during the assessment centre. So number one is basically know what to expect. You have more than likely received an email already from the employer, possibly stating the layout of the day and what you should be expecting. Make sure you give it a proper read through, see whether there's something you need to prepare beforehand, for instance, a presentation that they might give you a brief before, and just what kind of exercises you might expect. This will just also calm you down and also prepare you and put you in the right mindset when you do go in. Number two is research the company's ethos, facts, figures, anything you can find. For instance, one place I would really recommend you looking is their own website. It's a great place to start. Look at the values of that company because they love speaking about that. And they love it if you can bring that up and possibly even say how that aligns to your personal values as well. I'd also, alongside this, look at articles or things that may have come up in the news in relation to the company you're about to go to an assessment centre for. It will show that you have a lot of knowledge of the current industry and what is going on around you. So make sure you kind of look through any kind of articles or resources you can get your hands on. Number three is review your application before you go into the assessment centre. The reason why I say this is a lot of jobs and a lot of assessment centres you apply probably months before you actually get invited to the day. So by the time you submitted your CV, for instance, till 2 months later when you actually go in for the assessment centre, you've probably forgotten a lot of little things that you put in that CV. So I really recommend you looking through, making sure you know exactly everything you put down, back it up with facts and figures, if possible. And just basically it will make sure that all the knowledge is fresh in your mind, just in case the interviewer decides to use the CV as a base question template, which they can do. Number four is practice your presentation skills. The employer may or may not have given you a brief in advance to tell you that I want you to do a presentation for me around this topic, or they may not actually tell you anything and just tell you that in person. That happened actually with me in Unilever. So for this reason, regardless if you've heard anything about it or not, I practice your presentation skills, whether that be in front of a mirror or getting a friend or family to sit in front of you and asking questions while you stand up presenting. Find a topic basically, try and present it, be confident, smile, know what you're talking about, and just basically get that energy across. Number five is interview prep. So your standard preparation, making sure you know exactly what the role you're going in for is. I think a lot of people just apply to so many places and don't actually properly look at what is a role going to expect me to do. So make sure before you go in, you have a proper look at the job description, highlight possibly the key skills that they really want from you. So within the interview process and the assessment centre, you can really have that top of mind and really show that off. And my final sixth tip is just to be aware and prep for a group presentation or a group task. Most assessment centres will most likely have such a thing within the day. And this usually means that you have a couple people around you. It can vary, but sometimes between 4 and 10. And they'll give you as a team a topic for you to, whether it's something for you to solve or a presentation you guys have to make together or a pitch possibly, depending on what kind of assessment centre you walk into. Just remember, this is just as important as your one-to-one interviews. Do not underestimate it. It's a great opportunity to show your team working side and how well you work as a team. The top tip here, just make sure as much as your own performance is top of mind during that 20 minutes, for instance, make sure you're actually considering the people around you. It's really important to still encourage other people, specifically those who might not be speaking as much or are a bit more shy or haven't contributed too much to the team. It's a really good idea to point out, possibly using their name. They usually have a name badge. Jack, what was that point you made earlier? It just shows that you've got really good listening skills as well. Now let's get into the tips for the actual assessment center day. Hopefully all the preparation that you've done beforehand will make you really calm, cool and collected. That's a lot of K's and K's and K's. So my main tips here is 1, be early. I'm not talking arrive 5 hours early. But be early in the sense of you do not want to rush your journey or have to wake up running, not being ready. You won't be in the right frame of mind. The next thing is just be kind with everyone around you, whether that be the staff there, whether that be other candidates. 1, because you never know who they might be. They could be someone who's about to interview you. And 2, it's just polite and also gives you an opportunity to speak to people and spend time with them throughout the day. The next thing I'd really recommend is just to join in with informal conversations, whether that be during lunchtime or even around a table when it's not actually being formally assessed. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these examiners are still gonna be having a look at the way you're acting. Are you actually putting a conscious effort to get involved? Are you trying to make sure people are still talking to one another? So I just keep that top of mind and make sure you try and have a nice time and speak to everyone. My next tip, if you do go into, that was really loud. If you do go into a group interview, make sure you're not dominating the conversation. If you speak to a lot of people who actually are the interviewers within a group task, they don't want to see someone constantly talking and not letting anyone else having the chance to speak. So make sure you still put your points out there, but give time for other people to do the same. Next tip is super important. If you ever mess up, that's fine. Just move on from it. Do not dwell on it, because it's only going to ruin the performance in the next task and the next task and the next task. So it's not worth it. If you make a mistake, just give yourself a second just to go back to where you were and start again. And at the end of the day, just remember all of these assessors are fully aware that it's an assessment center. Everyone's bound to be stressed and everyone's bound to make some sort of mistake. So don't put too much pressure on yourself. And my final tip, after the assessment center, once you've heard back from them, whether that's good news or bad news, make sure you really ask and push for some feedback. Sometimes they give you it anyway, which is great, but a lot of companies decide to just, for instance, reject you and give you no idea of where you may have gone wrong. Try and push for feedback, just because at the end of the day, this just means the future jobs you do apply for, you know exactly what you could improve on. I'm trying to give you guys my best advice through all the assessment centers I've done, and to be honest, every one you do, you learn things that you can implement into the next one. And on a final note, just remember, if something doesn't happen, there's something better waiting for you. Just do not give up. If you liked the video today, make sure you subscribe to my channel, hit the bell button to not miss another video, and make sure to also comment down below whether you liked it, and also just give me some feedback on what videos you would want to see in the future. And that's all from me. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye!